DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That's the go-getter energy that moves anyone out there. And yes, I'm talking about you, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together in one bundle, one package, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one show. This masterclass that you have access to every single day, that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic is related to the social / racial unrest that has been going on in the United States ever since Memorial Day 2020. Actually, it's been going on since the inception of the United States, but has come to a head in the last few months after the situation happened with George Floyd in Minneapolis. Obviously, you know about it. And I've heard a lot of people of color, talking about the concept of white privilege, how white privilege allows certain white people, and this is black people talking, allows certain white people to get advantages that many black people or no black people actually have. And I've actually heard white people basically apologize for their white privilege, apologize for the fact that they're white. And I've made light of this. I've joked about it on my Instagram stories. I've joked about it here on this show. And I'm gonna continue to joke about it because it just seems funny to me that a lot of white people, it appears, have felt guilted by the loud cacophony of noise on social media, specifically social media, of people of color and other woke individuals, not all of them black, many of them white, who have just been speaking up about this white privilege. And I mean, I've seen white people just apologizing for the fact that they have this white privilege. Like, man, it's just so terrible. I have these opportunities and I have these things that are afforded to me that other people just don't have. And I made it very clear from the very beginning. If you don't follow me on Instagram or Facebook, maybe you didn't see my 2 articles, one of them called Dear White People, another one called Dear Black People. I made it clear from the very beginning, I'm not interested in hearing a white person apologize for being white. I mean, it's not like you chose to do it. You didn't rig the game in your favor. You were born to who you were born to. This is the situation that you have. This is the cards that you've been dealt. You don't need to apologize for it, at least not to me. Maybe there are some black people out there who feels like that'll make them feel better. I don't know how or why. And at the same time, whatever situation you have, you happen to be afforded some type of opportunity that other people don't have, whether it's by your skin tone, whether it's by just sheer luck, whether you're in the right place at the right time. Even if you didn't necessarily earn an advantage that you have, it is not on you to apologize to other people for it. All right, that's my lecture to the white people out there. All right, from a black person. Now, this topic here today is not really for the white people. This topic is actually for the black people, the people of color. Any of you who feels like white privilege is in any way, shape, or form blocking you from your blessings, from your success, from you getting what you want to get in life. And if you happen to be a white person listening to this right now, and this topic is not specifically aimed at you, I still beseech you to listen to everything I'm going to say here today, because the principles that I'm going to share here today and the concepts that I'm going to be talking about apply to anyone in any area of life. You can swap out white privilege. You can swipe in any type of advantage or situation or luck that you feel some person or some group of people has that you do not have. Thusly, they may be ahead of you because of that advantage. So the same framework that I'm going to lay out here today, you can use this in your life in any situation you come across, because I guarantee you, no matter what color you are, where you come from, what race, religion, creed, whatever, you're going to get into a situation at some point in your life where some other person or some other group of people have an advantage that you just don't have for whatever reason. And you may feel that you're not on a level playing field with them because of those advantages, and you're going to need to know what you can do about it. What I'm going to share here today is exactly that. The topic officially is how to combat white privilege strategically for black people. Point number 1. First thing you need to do is look at your own plate. I'm gonna tell you a quick anecdote that I heard from a guy by the name of Stephen Curry. Oh, y'all know who that is, right? The 3-point shooter, basketball player. Remember basketball? Stephen Curry told this story. I just heard him say this once when he was asked about his contract. And this was not the contract that he's on as of this recording, but Stephen Curry was, for one period of his career, early in his career, he showed some promise, showed that he could be a good player, showed that he was a great outside shooter, obviously, and he is I think we can credit Stephen Curry for leading the revolution of basketball to where so many players shoot three-pointers now. But there was a period early in his career, after his first couple seasons, when Steph Curry kept getting injured. He kept having these ankle issues, and it wasn't clear whether he'd be able to get through those issues and actually be able to play full seasons in the NBA without having these injuries over and over again. And because of this, even though he had proven to be a promising young player, because of these injuries that had kept happening, and there was a lot of lack of assuredness if he'd be able to hold up for entire seasons or for an entire career, Steph Curry agreed to a contract that was less than what the top players in his age bracket were receiving at that time. The time he signed a contract for, if I have these numbers right, it was 4 years for $44 million. In other words, Steph Curry is making $11 million a year for playing basketball. I don't think any of you would sneeze at that number. But based on the economics of the NBA, it was actually an under-market contract for a good player who would come out of his same draft class. But for Steph Curry, it made sense because of the injuries that he kept getting, and neither he nor the team could guarantee that this guy was even going to hold up long enough for him to even be as good as his contract. So he might have been overpaid at the moment. But over the next few years, Steph Curry apparently handled those issues that he was having with his ankles and was able to hold up through entire NBA seasons, became two-time NBA MVP, won a couple championships, and has become the Steph Curry that we all know and love to this day. Now, there was a period while he was still on this 4-year contract that there were other players who were not as good as Steph Curry who were making more money than Steph Curry on a per season basis and on a total contract value basis. And people started asking Steph Curry about this. And I heard one particular interview where someone said to Steph, hey, you signed this contract because you had some injuries early in your career, and now you have obviously outperformed this contract. You are now a severely underpaid basketball player as the MVP of the league. How do you feel about the fact that there are players out there who are they don't have half your accomplishments, who are making more money than you? How do you feel about that, Steph Curry? And Stephen Curry's response was, never look on another man's plate. And he went on to explain that his father, Del Curry, who had also played in the NBA, had always explained that to Stephen, that you don't ever look at what another guy has or what situation another person has going on, because their situation is not your situation. The cards that they've been dealt are not the cards that you've been dealt. And whatever it is that led them to being in the position that they're in has nothing to do with you. It is not your business what somebody else is eating. And this is the first thing that I want all of you to understand when it comes to this whole topic of white privilege or anyone having an advantage that you don't have yourself. All right, we're starting with a dose of no bullshit talk here on today's show. And the thing is about looking at another person's plate, I've heard James Altucher talk about this. He said, anytime that you look at another person with envy, that they have something that you don't have, understand that in order to get that same thing that they have, you would also have to swap not only the parts of their life that you want, but also the parts that you may not want, and the parts that you probably don't even know about. If you want their situation, you got to take on all of their life. All right, not just the part that is fun for you, not just the part that's convenient for you, not just the part that is comfortable for you, but everything going on in their lives. So if you want to be the athlete who has X amount of dollars, okay, then you also have to be married to that athlete's wife. You also got to be father to that athlete's kids. You got to play for the team that they play for. You got to go through everything they went through in their childhood and in their young adult lives and everything they're going to go through in the future. You can't just take the bits and pieces that work best for you and are comfortable for you. You got to take all of it. And usually when you present the conversation in that way to another person, their envy subsides. You don't feel as envious of another person because you're like, damn, yeah, I don't want to have to deal with all the other stuff they got going on, but I will take this little piece. It doesn't work like that in life. Looking at another person's plate will make you envious of just that meal, but what about everything they did before that meal and everything they got to do after the meal? You probably don't want that life. If you are a person of color and you find yourself complaining or feeling down or frustrated or whatever because of what you deem to be white privilege, you are setting yourself up to fail. And the reason why you're setting yourself up to fail is because what another person has as an advantage, again, is not your business. We did a whole masterclass here on the show about minding your business. The people who become most successful in life know how to mind their own business. I talked about this in masterclass number 1288. The topic, how to mind your business. And I mean that literally, minding your business, your life. You are the CEO of your own company. You as a individual person, even if you don't have a job right now, you are CEO of your own company. It costs you money to be born, it costs money to die, it will cost money to live. If you're looking at somebody else's plate and what somebody else is eating and what advantages they have or disadvantages they have or anything about them that has nothing to do with you, you're not minding your business, which means there's a total of 0 people at that exact moment minding your business, which means your business is probably not doing as well as it could be. You're setting yourself up to fail if you're not minding yours. You can't control another person's advantages or situations. And just in case you thought things were supposed to be fair, I don't know who told you that. You must not listen to this show often enough, because I never told you that things are supposed to be fair. I actually told you in masterclass number 955 what to do when things are unfair. All right, so that can be a great companion episode to what we're talking about here today. Again, that's masterclass number 955, what to do when things are unfair. And those of you who are game group members, you should have already gotten an email from us that lets you go into the game group exclusive member app, where we have every single episode in the history of the show in the application, so you can take it with you on your smartphone at all times. Again, those of you who are members should already know about that. And if you are not a member, you don't even know what I'm talking about, keep listening and I'll tell you about it in a minute. Again, that's masterclass number 955. I also told you in masterclass number 613, you have been lied to because life will never be fair. Somebody told you they're supposed to be fair, your kindergarten teacher, your mom, your grandma. Life is not supposed to be fair. So anybody who told you that, all right, they gave you bad information. Masterclass number 1301. What are your options when you are facing unfairness in life? So all 3 of those are great companions to what we're talking about here today. Again, that's masterclass 1301 that I just mentioned. Life is not set up to be fair. It is not supposed to be fair, and it never will be fair. All right, these are just the facts and truths that you need to accept about life. Do not look at another person's plate. Point number 2. Today's topic is how to combat white privilege strategically as a person of color. Point number 2, I said this 5 years ago. There are times in life where, as a person of color and living in the United States of America, you may need to be 10 to 20 times better than a white person at the exact same role and exact same job in order to get the same opportunity. Now, if you happen to be white listening to this right now, this is not a knock on you. As I said from the beginning of this episode, this is a conversation that I'm having specifically for people of color living in the United States of America. But I want y'all to listen so y'all understand how I'm talking to them. So if you ever hear me talking to you this way, white American, then you understand I don't pick and choose. I'm going to give it to everybody as straight as I possibly can. As a professional speaker, it's one of the roles that I have as an entrepreneur. Here's something that I do sometimes. I told this story on Instagram. I will go to a conference. Let's say there's a 3-day conference, right? And I'm one of the keynote speakers. Let's say there's a keynote speaker on Monday, there's one on Tuesday, that'll be me, and there's one on Wednesday. Here's what I'll do. If I know that, I'll get to the conference on like Sunday. And the conference didn't even start yet. But I will go to hear Monday's keynote speaker. I will speak on Tuesday, and then I'll hang around and I'll listen to the speaker on Wednesday. The reason why I do that is because I want to see what are these other people doing. Maybe one of them is way better than me. All right, maybe I can steal some things from what they're doing that I can use for my own keynote. Let me find out what other people who are in this game at the level that I'm at, let me find out what they're doing and how they're performing, and maybe I can learn some things that can help me step my own game up. All right, I'm a student as well as a teacher. And here's something that's happened. I would have to say, I'm just trying to jog my memory right now. 98% of the time, if not 100. I'm saying 98 just in case I'm forgetting somebody that I'm not thinking of right now, okay? First of all, as an African-American man, I know that if I'm a keynote speaker and there's more than one keynote speaker at that conference, I ain't gonna be another black person speaking. That's the first thing that I know. I'm not saying that to complain. I'm just telling y'all that as this is a straight up observation, okay? Second of all, when I've seen the other keynotes at any conference that I've been to and I've gotten to see the other speakers and they're white, I have often left very unimpressed by my counterpart keynote speakers. Now, this is not to say that every white person who's a keynote speaker is trash, but many of them whom I've seen have been trash. I'm just giving it to y'all straight from what I've seen. Have I seen every speaker in the world? No. Have I been to every conference in the world? No. Am I a full-time keynote speaker? No. So I probably have seen, there are other people out there who speak who probably seen 100 times more speakers than I have. All right, so you can take my experience and my observations with a grain of salt if you wish, but I'm just telling you what I've seen, and I mean, you listen to my show, so of course I am. I've seen some keynotes who I speak one day, they speak the next day, or vice versa, and I'm like, somebody paid this motherfucker? Like, somebody paid him? Somebody wrote a check to her for that? Like that is what y'all consider. You know what I sometimes think? I was like, who would be speaking if I wasn't here? Like if they had to replace me with one of them, another person of equal caliber to this other speaker, like this would be a trash conference. I would be like, as an attendee, I'd be mad that I spent my money here. Like these people, I've seen some really terrible speakers who were white American people speaking at conferences, and I'm looking at myself and I'm listening to what I say and looking at mine and I'm looking at theirs and I'm like, all right, me and this person are supposed to be equals? Like really? And here's the conclusion that I've come to. And this is actually not a conclusion I've come to. I've had conversations with many people in the professional speaking industry, at least those who have been honest enough to tell me what's real. And usually those are people of color and females. I had a female who's an agent for speakers. She said, Dre, the keynote speaking business is made for middle-aged white men. All right. And she was a white woman. And she told me that straight up. She said, for females, because most of the speakers she represented were females, she said, it's hard for me to get females booked. It'd be much easier if I just represented a bunch of middle-aged white men. And my job would be easy. I wouldn't even have to lift a finger really. All I gotta do is answer the phone and say yes. It'd be that easy. In the corporate world, and a lot of keynote speaking gigs are in the corporate world, for those of you who don't know, or just the conference world, it is made by middle-aged white men and it is for middle-aged white men. And this is something I've said on social media before, and I hope nobody takes offense to it, but if you do, fuck it, take offense. If you are a middle-aged white man, and you have keynote speaker as part of your layout of what you do professionally, I personally am not impressed when I see that. Because I've seen too many white men speakers who ain't shit. and the reason why they're able to book business is because the business is set up for them to win. The business is set up for middle-aged white men. So when I see a white man between the ages of 30 and 80, saying that they're a keynote speaker and they've done this many gigs and they've spoken at this place and this place and this place, I believe them. I 100% believe that they have spoken at those places, and I 100% believe that they're keynote speakers. But I also know that when I go to a conference and I'm one of the keynotes and I see some 35-year-old white dude who's also one of the keynote speakers at that conference, I already know off the top before hearing them say a single word, I'm probably, on average, 20 times better than them to get the exact same gig for the exact same amount of money. I know that to be true from my own personal experience. Being a black guy, and listen, I'm not some clean-cut corporate black guy. I mean, look me up on Google, look at my pictures, look at the stuff that I post. Listen to how I'm talking to you right now. All right, look at the way that I represent myself. I present myself on my online stories and the pictures that I post and the way that I talk and the language that I use. I'm not a quote-unquote safe black guy. All right, there's some safe black guys out there that if a corporation really needs someone that's safe, that they can, quote, trust, close quote, they're probably not going to choose me, even though I can adjust my language as necessary. But if they're looking for someone safe, they're looking for someone who doesn't have to adjust. It's just their normal style, if y'all understand what I'm saying. I know I got to be 20 times better to get the gig next to some white guy. All right, to get it over them, I got to be 100 times better. Right now, in the climate that we're in right now, in the speaking world, I said this on Instagram in early June, if you are a person of color who is a professional speaker, you don't have to be 20 times better to get booked right now. You only got to be about 4 or 5 times better. The bar has been lowered because a lot of white people are afraid right now of looking at any way racist or intolerant, and the bar has been lowered. So you ain't even got to be that good. You still got to be 4 or 5 times better than the white guy or the white girl, but you don't have to be 20 times better like normal. All right, by this time next year, you might go back up to 20. All right, if you understand what I'm saying. Might go back up to, might get raised. All right, there might be an overcorrection. Shit might go up to 40. So any of you who's a professional speaker right now, or there are many other industries too. I'll get to those in a minute. The bar is lowered right now, and there's an opportunity for you. So don't stop working on your game. That's the point that I'm talking about here in point number 2. Do not stop working on your game, even though you may believe white privilege exists. White privilege existed way before people were making noise about a black person being killed by a police officer, or about systemic racism, or about oppression, or white privilege, or white guilt, or any of these other buzz phrases that have been thrown around, okay? You had to be 20 times better before this. All right, right now the bar is temporarily lowered. It might have been raised by the time you even hear this, but it is an opportunity there. You must continue to work on your game since you're not looking on anybody else's plate anyway. Don't focus on what opportunities other people have. Focus on the ones you have or that you don't have, and focus on why you're not getting them. Point number 3. Today's topic is how to combat white privilege strategically as a black person in America. Understand that white America will never be more sympathetic / fearful of looking racist than they are right now. And I think right now there's a little couch. All right, right now, there's a couch between what happened in Minneapolis and the verdicts or the outcomes. Let's just say the outcomes, because we're not even 100% sure we're gonna get a trial yet. I think we will, but we can't guarantee it. Between what happened in Minneapolis and the outcomes of the cops being charged in that Minneapolis case. In between those two outcomes, because we don't know how long that's gonna take, but those police officers, at least as of this recording, if something happened since this recording, then forgive me. But there's a couch right now where white America is so sympathetic and or fearful of looking racist towards black people. You as a black person in America right now have zero excuses for failure. You have zero excuses to not capitalize and make something happen. There's a lot of white people I've seen on social media laying down, moving out of your way, apologizing for, I don't even know what they're apologizing for. All right, and there's plenty of opportunity for you right now. So if you're black and you have some game, or you believe you have some game, and you can't make opportunity happen for yourself right now in the climate that we're in right now, all right, I don't have any hope for you. All right, after this, all right, I wouldn't have had hope for you before, and I won't have any hope for you after this. All right, don't do anything stupid and just ride the wave of opportunity that you got right now. All right, I seen Uber Eats said if someone owns if you order food from a black-owned business, they waive the delivery fee, which is like $2. All right, thank you Uber Eats for the $2. This is the kind of pandering that I'm saying. I consider it pandering. Now, some of you may take offense to that. I don't give a damn. Again, you listen to my show. On your show, you can talk about what you want to talk about. I see it as pandering that a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of CEOs of companies, almost all of them white, because a black person who owns a company ain't got to make a statement, because right now the statements are being, people are bowing at his feet, right? So I've seen a lot of pandering from white people and white-owned and white-run companies, letting them know that they stand with black people and they're against injustice and this and that. And y'all know all the phrases that people have been throwing around. It's all starting to become a blur to me. It's all falling into the same haze. Don't do anything stupid, black people. Ride the wave of sympathy and fear to your advantage right now, because I guarantee you this will not last forever. All right, things will go back to, quote, normal, close quote, before you know it. So, but right now on this little couch, before the outcome happens with those police officers, because if all of them get convicted and sent to jail for the rest of their lives, okay, then a lot of this stuff might go away. It might. I don't know what's going to happen, but it might go away. And if they end up getting off, all right, then we may have other problems. But take advantage of this opportunity right now. Don't wait. All right, you ain't got time anyway. Point number 4. Today's topic is how to combat white privilege in America strategically if you are a black person. Point number 4, black people. Because y'all know, any of you who listen to this show often enough, you listen to 1 or 2 episodes, you know, we always bring things back to ourselves. So while the things that I've said about what white people have going on and how white people are responding and apologizing and all these things, that's fine. But again, if you're not white, then it doesn't really matter what they're doing, does it? Let's bring it back to ourselves. We're gonna close on this point. If black people, you have your shit together right now, the lane is wide open. All right, there's a lane wide open. I have a friend who is a journalist. She writes for, She writes for, I think, New York Times. She writes for the LA Times. She writes for, there's a few other sites she writes for, has a podcast, a lot of publications that she writes for. We were exchanging messages and she told me, she's white, and she said right now, a lot of black journalists they're getting gigs, they're getting business, they're getting work, because a lot of publications want to hear from black people right now. First of all, they want to hear what black people have to say about certain things. And secondly, a lot of them don't want to look racist. So they're hiring as many black people as they can and giving them work, because they're running with their tails between their legs, as are a lot of companies right now. Journalists, any of you who's an author, I would say actors, but I guess people can't get together and act right now. I don't know. Any of you who works in corporate America, angling for a promotion. If you are a salesperson and you are a black-owned business, or you're just a salesperson who is black, customers want to buy black right now to prove that they're not racist. Any of you who's a professional speaker, as I already said, there's a lane wide open right now for you to get your foot in the door. Actually, you ain't gonna get your foot in the door. You're gonna get both feet in the door, and you can kick the door off the motherfucking hinges right now, because the opportunity is wide open. If you have game, if you have your shit together, if you are ready to deliver when your number gets called. But your number's being called right now. Like, your phone is ringing right now. You don't hear it? Your phone's ringing, answer it. There's an opportunity right now. I was looking I saw on social media that the TV show The Bachelor on ABC, I've never watched this show, but I know of its existence. They booked their first ever black man to be The Bachelor on the show. And when I said this on Instagram, somebody said they just had the first ever black bachelorette recently. So now they're having the first ever black bachelor. So even reality TV is giving black people opportunities right now that didn't happen before. If you are already 20 times better than the white person who's your counterpart, as I just explained, and when it comes to professional speaking, you better start promoting yourself heavy right now. Run some advertisements, do some marketing campaigns, do something. Step your promotion and marketing up to get more attention drawn to you, because the lane is wide open right now if you got your shit together. Now, if you don't have your shit together, stay quiet and work on your game. But if you do, all right, there's an opportunity right now, and everyone in America is scrambling to make sure they check off the let's do something good for black people box. You might as well collect a check in the process of letting them fulfill that need. Let's recap today's topic, which is how to combat white privilege in America strategically as a black or brown person. Number one, look at your own plate. All right, if you are black and complaining of white privilege, you're first of all not paying attention to your business. That means nobody's paying attention to it, which means your business is setting up to fail. Life is not fair. It ain't supposed to be fair. It ain't going to be fair. Point number two, I've said this many times in the business world, especially as a professional speaker, I gotta be 20 times better than a white guy to get the exact same gig. Why is that? You could call it racism, you could call it white privilege, you could call it just the way it is. I don't give a title to it. I don't really care what you want to call it. I just know I gotta be 20 times better. So when I see another speaker on the same bill as me, I already know I'm 20 times better than them. What you need to understand about that is right now that bar has been lowered. You only got to be about 4 or 5 times better, because America's running scared right now. In this little couch of time we got, it ain't gonna last forever. So do not stop working on your game. Point number 3, white America will never be more sympathetic or fearful of looking racist than they are at this exact moment. So you have no excuses to fail, black people. Everybody's laying down and moving out of your way. Ride this wave while it is here, because this wave will end. And point number 4, black people, if you got your shit together, the lane is wide open right now. Journalists, authors, actors, corporate promotions, salespeople, speakers, company owners, The Bachelor. All right, if you are already better than your white counterparts, at least you thought you were, start promoting yourself heavy right now, because they need to check that box. All right, some of these companies need to check that box and say that they did the right thing. They don't. You can read into why they're checking that box however you wish. I'm not making any judgments on that. I'm just telling you what I see. Work on your game. Dre all day.